Aloha everyone, what is going on my dudes? Today is March 14th, 2022. We got another RuneScape update for y'all. Today we see another Ninja Strike heavily focusing on some combat with some very important changes. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go.
Cats is the illest. What you talking about, Willis?
Alright guys, before we get into the Ninja Strike, I briefly want to mention that there is a Prime Gaming drop coming out on the 15th, tomorrow, where you can nab yourself 7-day membership, as well as a currency pack, which gives you 35 treasure hunter keys and 200 rune coins. So once again, that's Prime Gaming, 7-day membership and currency pack on the 15th, tomorrow. With that said, let's take a look at this Ninja Strike and see all the combat changes added with today's update. Starting off with boss encounters. Looking at Virago, they removed the delay at the end of each gap jump within the borehole, making the transition smoother, added a timer bar to Virago showing charge time for the entry attack, also reducing the entry attack from 33 cycles, 19.8 seconds to 20 cycles, just 12 seconds. It now deals 70% of your max life points in normal mode, 90 in hard mode, as opposed to a fixed amount between players. And the encounter will still start even if a player is killed with this entry attack. In a solo encounter, players can jump the gap in the first phase without needing Virago to be facing away from them. In phase 2, the gravity fields required to progress have been reduced from 4 to 2. Also during phase 2, the bring 'em down activity is now twice as fast. To compensate, they increased the bleed damage from 150 to 250 in normal mode, 250 to 400 in hard mode. Moving on over to Raksha, Raksha no longer changes targets unexpectedly, as it's been doing in some rare cases. This will mostly stop Raksha from attacking the first player that attacks it. Instead, it'll target the player who began the encounter. They updated the rockfall damage area from a 7x7 to a 5x5 to better fit the size of the visuals. In phase 4, various block tiles have been removed from the west pipes. The shadow anima can now be absorbed more consistently when moving within close proximity, and the shadow anima no longer has the absorb option to prevent accidental interactions. Both the Queen Black Dragon and Nex have had their introduction animations shortened to start the encounter faster. For the Zuck encounter, you can now alternate your arrival points at the boss portal, allowing you to teleport right in front of Zuck. And finally, looking at elite dungeons, their drop rates for the uniques across the modes have been increased to give a unified drop rate per clear. This means that at Temple of Amanishi, the ancient scales will now drop from Seryu at 50% and 33% of a solo rate in a duo and trio mode respectively, and these rates are per player. And the same holds true for the Dragonkin Laboratory as it pertains to draconic energies. The greater ability codexes, however, are now made slightly more common in solo mode, previous drop chance being 100 out of 10k, increased to 120 out of 10k. Duo and trio have remained unchanged. Opposite of that, however, is the Shadow Reef. Eldritch crossbow pieces from the Ambassador have remained unchanged for solo mode, however in duo mode, it's increased from 60 in 10,000 to 90 in 10,000, where trio has been increased from 38 in 10,000 to 60 in 10,000. Moving over, we got abilities and spells. Smoke Tendrils has had a plethora of changes, considering its interaction with Smoke Cloud and the Staff of Armadale. Damage is now calculated in a more standardized way. It will no longer give adrenaline twice per hit when affected by the Tsunami ability. It will be affected by both the Precise and Equilibrium invention perks. It will give a critical strike on each hit reliably. The damage inflicted on the player is now calculated separately from the damage dealt, and a critical strike that increases the damage into the top 95% can still occur through the Biting invention perk and other bonuses. The Ruby Aurora spell will now reliably apply the buff to other players. The Havoc, Snipe, and Dragon Breath abilities can now be used to temporarily disable Acrisay the Doom's prayers. The Impatient invention perks will now work with Slice, Piercing Shot, Rack, and Ruin. The Surge, Escape, and Bladed Dive abilities will no longer cause you to enter combat stance. However, using these abilities while in combat stance will still maintain it. And if you use these abilities while your adrenaline is draining, it will still cause you to enter the combat stance. Moving on, we got changes to Herblore bombs. They've increased the max throw range to 10 tiles, updated the throw option to use on the the active target. They've improved the use functionality. When used from the backpack, you can now target ground coordinates. The bomb can be thrown at an NPC more consistently, which notably fixes issues with large bosses that are surrounded by blocking, such as Astalarn and Raksha. When dragging a bomb to the bar, you now have the ability to choose the interaction mode you wish to use. This allows you to use keybinds for both throw and use options. Now finally, we have some general changes to combat. Boss kill times have been updated to include milliseconds. Updated a new option in the settings to toggle precise adrenaline value, which shows decimal values for adrenaline if necessary. This can be found under settings, combat and action bar, and action bar. They've increased the size of various reward chests, elite dungeons, from 32 to 48, Cross's chest 30 to 48. Updated the buff bar icon that displays the active ammunition in the player's quiver. If the quiver is empty, only an image of the quiver itself will show. When saving and loading a preset with exact matching enabled, the contents of a quiver will now be respected. The Ancient Elven Ritual Shard cooldown now resets when using the upgraded War's Altar within War's Retreat. Training dummies at War's Retreat now have a 10k damage cap, 12k damage for crits. And they introduced Dragon, Undead, and Demon training dummies to the dispenser at War's Retreat. Remove the question mark text from the Liberation of Misc boss interface. The Insane Reaper achievement now displays requirements to show which collection logs the player has completed so that they can better track their progress. And finally, NPC health bars now use comma separators when displaying health values over 1000. And that is it for your Combat Ninja Strike. However, we do have some additional patch notes worth checking out, so let's go ahead and see what's been changed there. An early bird bonus was introduced with the new Abyssal Slayer creatures, giving players a higher chance to receive Abyssal creatures as a Slayer task. It's now been 2 weeks since the release and the bonus has been removed. Boss, Slayer, and Treasure Trail collection log achievements are no longer marked as hidden in the achievement interface. Updated the requirements description for the Kandarin Monastery teleport and Manor Farm teleport spells. The fourth withdrawal option in the seed bag now withdraws the correct amount of seeds based on the amount specified in the bank window. A pop-up will now appear whenever a new item for the collection log is obtained. This can be toggled within settings, interface, and information windows. Soul rune production has been increased to give triple the amount of runes per charge than previously. XP remains unaffected. The Trollheim teleport spell has been updated to better discern it from the Taverley teleport. A Tetra Compass location in Taranwin has been moved for better ease of access. The render distance for players and NPCs in the wilderness have been increased to match the rest of the world. This restriction was originally introduced to match the Java client, which has since been deprecated. Legacy hit splats can now be selected for all miscellaneous hit splats, such as poison, heal, soul split, etc. The tab key can now be used as a custom keybind. As a result of this, the reply message feature can now be bound to an alternate non-principal key. Removed Coral hiding behind a signpost in Ardoin. Bladed Dive ability now resets its cooldown after killing Living Rock Strikers and Living Rock Protectors. Movement no longer stalls when using the Loved Up Rest animation. Equipping a Slayer Helm or Mask after an NPC dies but before the drop appears will no longer double the drop without progressing the kill count for the item. For a drop with a double, the item must be worn for 10 seconds before the drop appears. Whetstone can now be used to repair fleeting boots. Cosmetics are no longer forcibly changed when entering a sinkhole. The Blast Fusion Hammer can no longer be equipped in the main hand. Players can no longer attempt to recolor the Biscuit pets. Brill Thock's daughter's name is no longer censored whenever it's typed in chat. Fixed an issue with pickup sticks referring to an incorrect location during familiarization. Fixed an issue with Glacites and Arc Glacior Arms HP resetting during the encounter. Fixed an issue where Reprisal couldn't be activated without a target and with the ability queue turned on. Fixed an issue with Magic Notepaper not noting larger sandstone blocks, 2, 5, and 10 kg. Fixed an issue where weapons on a player's back would bounce while wearing the Cottontail Knight's chestplate. Defense pylons can no longer attack players in the boss arena. And finally, the Xavier Pet's green coloring is now consistent when overriding legendary pets and when summoned by itself. That is it for your patch notes. Links to everything discussed in this video will be down in the description below. Head on over there and check them out for yourself if you wish to do so. And with that, I'm going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Aloha.